gentlemen, this is our great privilege to organize the knowledge-based program. As you all know that the objective of the DVC leadership is to promote the knowledge-based concept of DBC, by which our members can get the continuous opportunity to learn, and our students also enrich themselves and build themselves in line with the knowledge-based professional institutions, that is ICM. So in that journey, we are continuously trying to organize different knowledge-based programs to give the knowledge supports to our members as well as the students. And definitely one of the most precious assets are our members, particularly the members like Dr. MD Saiful Alam, FCMA, who are the genuinely is a knowledge practitioner who creates knowledge through research and disseminate the knowledge in the society. And when there's such kind of knowledge practitioners belongs to our community, this is our great privilege, definitely, that this is our own people who can help us to learn and to grow. And the most special aspect of today's program is that the Dr. Saiful has conducted one research on the Islamic accounting. As we all know that around the world, the Islamic finance, trend of Islamic finance is growing very fast. Only the Islamic banking at this moment is around $2 trillion, and which is growing very fast. But this is very much concentrated. Almost 70% of the Islamic finance is done by MENA as well as the Gulf countries. However, it is expecting that due to its potential sustainable aspects, the growth, experts are predicting, in fact, the growth is going to be continuing in the future. One of the challenges of the sustainable Islamic finance is accounting aspect. There is an Islamic accounting. As we know that accounting requires for ensuring the transparency and the accountability of like financing activities. So in that respect, the accounting aspects and its emergence is critical for sustainability of the Islamic finance growth. With this backdrop, we are very much privileged that Dr. Saiful has conducted one research that is an accumulation of the literature review. Possibly it is the base level study to continue his future research. And he agrees that to share this knowledge among the ICMAB members and the students to enrich ourselves, to give our, to promote our, in fact, our curiosity to learn more about the different aspects of the Islamic accounting. So with these few words, I want to again welcome all of you and would like to invite Dr. Saiful Alam, FCMA. But before that, I just want to convey my sincere gratitude of the past presidents and a very successful entrepreneur of the Bangladesh and our guardian, MD Abdul Aziz, FCMA sir, our presence here as a chief guest, and our National Council office bearer, our very own and our leaders, and Akem Kamruzzaman, FCMA secretary, and Ali Haidar Chaudhuri, treasurer, and my colleagues of the DBC, MD Iqbal Hussain are also present. And the most important, the key part of this program, that is the members and the students have joined also. So though this is the working day, but we are very happy for the joining trend. And I believe that it definitely will be all worth the learning for all of us. So now this is the floor is for the Dr. MD Saiful Alam FCMB. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Al-Mamun Bhai, for nice introduction and the nice background. It is a great privilege for me to be here for the first time to share a few of my understanding about some of the issues of accounting with my fellow colleagues and members at the ICMAB. I think this would be one of the wonderful opportunity for me personally, to share the knowledge or whatever understanding I have on this particular issue. So before introduction, a self-disclaimer basically. First of all, don't consider me as an expert in Islamic accounting. I think Dr. Mamun Bhai rightly pointed out that I have just conducted one literature review research on Islamic accounting. So based on that research, I have got some basic understanding of Islamic accounting. So today I would like to share with you based on that research what I mean by Islamic accounting and what are the issues that the academics and the practitioners like us and the people present here should think about when the notion of Islamic accounting comes into their mind. So before starting, let me acknowledge my heartfelt gratitude to all the dignitaries present here, particularly our past president, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah Aziz FCM sir, and our current office bearers of ICMAB. I can see here from Ali Haider Chaudhry Bhai, Kamrujaman Bhai, and DBC office bearers, Dr. Abdullah Al-Mamun Bhai, Iqbal Bhai, Jakaria Bhai, and particularly the heart of today's session, our members who are present here, who have made that time out of the busy schedule of this office time. My sincere gratitude to all of you. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all of you. Let me share my slides with you, then I start my discussion. Is it visible to you?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay,
it can
right.
Be.
So today I put the title of the presentation is Islamic Accounting, what is known and what needs to be known. I think based on my small piece of research, I've got few understanding of what is known in the area of Islamic accounting, and maybe I've got some thoughts to share with you what needs to be known, what needs to be done in this particular area, particularly being one of the densely populated Muslim countries in the world, Bangladesh. And also as a professional institution, what ICMAB can do in this niche area of accounting. So this is our title for today's presentation and the agenda of discussion. So first of all, to understand anything related to the Islamic, we need to understand a term called Maqasid al-Sharia. So what is the the purpose of the Sharia, the intent of the niyyah of the Sharia? So Maqasid al-Sharia and the Islamic financial system, and I will share with you a brief overview of the global Islamic finance industry, because to understand the Islamic accounting, you have to have some basic understanding of the Islamic finance industry. Then I will give you a very brief background of Islamic accounting, when actually the idea of the notion of the concept of Islamic accounting had come into the place, starting at the very early 90s actually. I will also try to give the define Islamic accounting. What is basically Islamic accounting? And then the issues of Islamic accounting. On the issues of Islamic accounting, I will basically share from my research actually. So what are the key themes of the issues of the Islamic accounting that the researchers, so the Islamic accounting researchers, the academics, they are researching on? Then the way forward. So in this particular area, I will try to show the the future outlook of the Islamic accounting. So what are the issues that the Islamic accounting academics and the practitioners, both at home and the abroad, should think about to carry forward the agenda of Islamic accounting. And then if you have any questions, then I will answer these questions. So this is the sketch of the outline of today's presentation. Now, the first thing, the Maqasid al-Sharia. So you see here, we have got two words here, right? One is Maqasid and the other one is Sharia. As far as, we are concerned, since many of us are, Muslim, we know the Sharia. Sharia is the Islamic rules and the regulations. The sources of the Sharia is the, first of all, the holy book, holy scripture, the Quran, and the hadith. So hadith is basically the sayings and the conduct of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the fatwa. The fatwa is the rulings of the Islamic scholars. In our country, we call them mufti, because mufti is a title basically. So those who have got the mufti title, so they have got the power to give the fatwa, right? So the Islamic Sharia, the sources of Islamic Sharia is basically these three things. Now, the Sharia also covered the rules of muamalat. So what is this muamalat? Muamalat meaning the orderly transactions on a person's day-to-day lives. So in our everyday lives, we do transactions, right? In our personal life, in our business life, and in our everyday life. So we do transactions. So the Islam has, or the Sharia has a particular guidelines for each of those transactions. This is the muamalat. So this is one thing. Now, what is the maqasid of all of these rules and regulations? So maqasid meaning the intent of the niyyah. The intent of the niyyah is to bring the good for the society, is to do good for the first of all, do good for the individual, and then good for the society, and then good for the humankind. So the maqasid al-Sharia meaning the higher objective of the Sharia, the observance of which facilitate the normal functioning of the society by enhancing the public good. I mean, as an individual, whatever I do, I should do it, first of all, for the betterment of myself, and also for the betterment of the society, and for the greater humanity, right? For the greater mankind. That is basically the maqasid al-Sharia, the intent, the objective of the Sharia is. So to understand the Islamic financial system, you have to understand this phrase first, because maqasid al-Sharia forms the base of the Islamic financial system, because we have got the conventional financial system. So what's wrong with the conventional financial system? Because the researchers, the academics have argued that the conventional or the interest-based financial system has something in it that is not good for the society, that is not good for the humankind, that is not good for the individual even. That is the interest. So in a sense, the interest is sometimes exerting control of one party over the other. So exploitation is being made by the one party over the other. So Islamic financial system is coming here to address this exploitation, if you like, to achieve the highest level of the maqasid al-Sharia. I mean, to do the good for the society, to do the good for the humankind. So how it has done it? So you can see here, the Islamic financial system operations are essentially based on a certain set of moral and ethical principles that determine what is viewed as morally right, implying actions and transactions that promote public good, I mean, good for the humankind, and wrong, implying actions and transactions likely to be against the public good. So while prohibiting the receipt and payment of interest is the nucleus of the system, meaning, yes, the Islamic financial system is not working on the riba or the interest, it is working on the, based on the partnership and the sharing of the risk and others. So it entails some of the things like individuals' rights and duties, property rights, equitable distribution of wealth, risk sharing, fulfillment of obligations, and the sanctity of contracts. So the whole idea of Islamic financial system, to put it in one sentence, is to bring good for the humankind, bring good for the society, ensuring right, which is morally and ethically right for the individuals, for the society, and for the humankind, and removing the wrong thing for the individual, society, and the humankind. That is the base of the Islamic financial system. Now, to give you a base, fundamental of the overviews of the Islamic financial system, let me share with you some statistics here. I think in the beginning, in the intro, Dr. Muammar has correctly pointed out the size of the Islamic finance industry. If you can see these two figures here, you see over the years from 2012 to 2019. So this is an extract from the report of 2020. We have got actual figure up to 2019. So in the 2019, it is US billion dollar, which is 2008 yes, 2008 $75 billion, the size of the Islamic finance asset. And the projected asset for in the industry for 2024 is over $3,000 billion, right? And on the left hand side, if you see here on this part of the first graph, you see out of the total Islamic finance industry, 69% comprises of the Islamic banking. So we have got many Islamic banks in our country as well. We have got full-fledged Islamic bank in Bangladesh, like 10 banks maybe. And we have got some banks, traditional banks, but they have got Islamic banking window. And some of the banks, they have dedicated branches for Islamic banking operations. So we have got these three dimensions of the Islamic bank. And globally, out of total Islamic finance industry, 69% comprise of the Islamic banking. 19% is Islamic bond, which is called Sukuk. As you all know that recently Bangladesh Security Exchange Commission, they have also introduced, launched the Sukuk bond, Islamic bond in Bangladesh recently. We have got Islamic fund, 5%. We have got Takaful, which is Islamic life insurance or Islamic insurance, 2% of this, and other Islamic financial institutions issues of there. We have got things like Islamic microfinance, Islamic, I mean, providing financial services while you are trying to observe the maqasid al-Sharia, the rulings of the Sharia, right? That is basically the Islamic, the level of Islamic finance come here. And during 2019, globally, what we have seen 1,526 new Islamic financial institutions. We have seen 46 countries with Islamic finance regulations. We have Sharia scholars in total 1,170, and some other statistics you can see up to 2019. And globally, as far as the development of Islamic finance, of the Islamic financial system is concerned, we see the most developed countries in Islamic finance, ranking wise. The first is obviously a very close country to us, Malaysia. Then second is Indonesia, Bahrain, UAE, and Saudi Arabia just follows there. So these are some of the brief overview of global Islamic finance industry. Now think about Bangladesh, where we are sitting. Yes, we are, the Islamic finance market in Bangladesh is gradually increasing. It is steadily increasing, and it is increasing very high. But yet, if you compare it with the global scale, it is not up to the mark. And the regulations and the Islamic finance ecosystem is not that much developed in Bangladesh. So here is the point that I want to make, and I want to refer it for the future discussion. Keep it in mind that Bangladesh has a very good potential of this Islamic finance market and the industry. Now, to give you some background of Islamic accounting, when it all started, it was started back in 1990. But Baidoun first in early 2000 first phrased the item of the conventional accounting as the Western accounting. So in the textbook, we know the accounting meaning of accounting. So the popular definition of accounting is, accounting is a branch of knowledge that provides information for decision making, right? Uh, it ensures the accountability of the managers or stewardship, because we know that shareholders, the owners of the company, and they appoint managers who take care of their resources on behalf of them. So time to time, they produce accounting information to show the owners that, yes, we are doing good. We are, protecting your money, we are protecting your resources, and so on. Now, for Bedouin, this is a Western mode of accounting, because it is only, it talks about this secular form of accountability only. I mean, the accountability from one individual to the other, or a group of individual to the other group of individuals. So this is a worldly form of accountability. Now, as far as Islamic accounting is concerned, it has some religious aspect of the accountability as well. So apart from the secular version of the accountability, apart from the accountability to individual or a group of individual, it has something to do with the accountability with the God Almighty. Because, we know that God is, He is seeing everything. So if we do something bad with the money of the owners, if we do something bad for the customers, for the with the money of the shareholders, then obviously He will punish us in the day of judgment, right? So with this understanding, it has two aspects of the accountability. Basically, one is a secular form of accountability, and the other is the spiritual form of accountability. Now, in the Islamic accounting, basically these two forms of accountability matches. So Islamic accounting is a form of accounting that should ensure these two forms of accountability, right? So in the early 90s, firstly, gambling and the Karim has two papers actually, 1990, 1995. They called for the establishment of a separate accounting framework and standard setting body for Islamic financial institutions. Because, as we all know that there are many countries that is being governed by the Islamic Sharia. And also even the countries where the Sharia is not the main sources of law, like in Bangladesh, but we have got many institutions, Sharia-based institutions. So countries which is being governed by the Sharia law, and countries where the Sharia-based institutions are underrun, or countries where a good number of Muslim people, a Muslim population is being there, world should think about some, institutions to govern the affairs of those institutions. So there was a first call for the establishment of the separate accounting framework and standard setting bodies for these Islamic financial institutions. As a result of that, we had seen the establishment of this Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, AUFI, in 1991. So it was established in 1991, and it has been established as a global body, global regulatory body, although it is in the private sector, for the Islamic financial institutions. Now, to give you a very brief idea about the AUFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization of Islamic Financial Institutions, as I said, it was established in 1991. It has got separate form of membership. It has got some founding members. So some members like, Islamic Development Bank, Kuwait Finance House, Dubai Islamic Bank, and others. They actually established these institutions. So they are the founding members. We have got some associate members. So some countries who later joined these institutions, so they became the associate members. And there are some, fiqh institutions as well. So Islamic ruling-based institutions, they are also associate members of, they can be associate members of AUFI. We have got members representing regulatory and supervisory authorities. It's like, you know, if ICMAB would like to, or ICAB and Bangladesh would like to be part of AUFI, then they can be member of them. So they are being treated in third category, members representing the regulatory and supervisory authorities. And the some observer members, they are just observer there, right? And these AUFI, they set accounting standards and the auditing standards and the Sharia standards, governance standards, code of ethics for the Islamic financial institutions. So far, they have issued 117 standards in the accounting, auditing, governance, and standards. On the right-hand side, I've shown you the Sharia standards. So far, they have 59 Sharia standards, 33 accounting standards for Islamic financial institutions, and 8 auditing standards, 3 code of ethics, and 14 governance standards. And these AUFI, they have also fellowship programs, 2 fellowship programs that underrun there. One is Certified Islamic Professional Accountant. So a particular courses you have to attempt there, like, you know, professional examination you have been through, and a certain number of years you have to pass through with some of, you know, practical experience. Then you will be treated as a Certified Islamic Professional Accountant. And there is also other fellowship, which is called Certified Sharia Advisor and Auditor, CSAA. In Bangladesh, I've seen recently many of our, you know, friends and colleagues, they are doing these fellowship programs. Like many of bankers I know from Islamic banking institutions, they I think they studied Certified Sharia Advisor and Auditor, this fellowship program. So this is a brief idea about AUFI, Accounting Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions. So what is Islamic accounting? Although I briefly touched on this point, first of all, there is no actually common view of Islamic accounting. Some would say that, well, this is nothing but the same accounting. Well, I agree on this point. As I said, it has 2 things actually. So in the conventional understanding of accounting, we only focus on the secular form of accountability. But in Islamic accounting, we have to keep it in our mind that it has 2 aspects of the accountability. One is conventional secular form of accountability. The other one is religious, or the, you know, religious aspect of the accountability, right? So this is the religious aspect of the Islamic accounting. As you see, as far as religion is concerned, Islamic accounting is conceived of a branch of accounting that deals with the financial reporting, auditing, governance, management control, and other related issues of Islamic financial institutions, that is organizations run under Sharia law. As you know that the maqasid al-Sharia, the objective of the Sharia is to, you know, fulfillment of the doing good for the society and the humankind, right? So that is the religious aspect of the accountability. That's accountability to the God. That means through our actions, deeds, operations, we do good for the individual, society, and the humankind, right? Now it has other aspect as well. It has the time and space aspect. So as far as space is concerned, Islamic finance is also dealing with the affairs of the Islamic country. So what is the Islamic country? It could be the country run under Sharia law, or country where majority people are, you know, by nature Muslim, and there are many organizations that are run under Sharia law. So like Bangladesh. So if you study Islamic financial institutions of the Bangladesh, although we are not governed by the Sharia law, but still we can be boxed as a, you know, Islamic accounting thing. You are doing something related to Islamic accounting. So this is some brief idea about the Islamic accounting. Now, what is the status of Islamic accounting to show you, or to share with you from my research? So I studied from 1990 to 2020 all the Islamic accounting publications published in the top tier journals. What I have got there, you see from the left-hand side figure, in the 1990, we have got only 1 publication. Then in between 1990 and 95, we have got single publications. So up to 2005, you can see it is like on and off, only single publication or single, you know, academic discussion of the Islamic accounting issues. But since 2010, it has got a momentum, right? So it increased after 2010. And although there was a slight decrease, but recently it increased tremendously. So I've got reasons for this. One of the reasons is in 2010, two academics, they started a dedicated publication outline for the Islamic accounting and the business, of the Islamic accounting finance. So there is a journal called Journal of Islamic Accounting and Business Research, which is an email journal. So they started publishing Islamic accounting things from 2010. So this is one of the reasons that we see the uplift of these Islamic accounting publications since 2010. The other reasons of the increase of the Islamic accounting publications in recent time, particularly from 2015, is because of the other secular journals, I mean the conventional accounting journals, they started accommodating Islamic accounting publications since 2015. So we have, we have got academics here. We are familiar with the journals of Triple H, CPA, AOS, then Accounting Review, ABR. So we have got a wide range of conventional accounting journals who has started publishing Islamic accounting research. So this is one of the reasons that we have seen the fluctuations in the variation. Now, regarding the topics of research, so this is again another extract from my piece of research here. The topic of research in the Islamic accounting and the frequency. So the highest number of publications is in the Islamic accounting regulations. I mean the office standards and rules regulations. We have got publication, second number in the corporate and Islamic governance. So we have got Sharia board, Sharia supervisory committee, so things like that. And we have also some capital market research while addressing the Islamic accounting issues. So let me share with you some of the issues of this research in detail. Now, firstly, regulation and the regulatory compliance. So I have identified a few areas. So what Islamic accounting academics, or accounting academics actually examined in the area of Islamic accounting. The first issue that I have got is regulation and the regulatory compliance, right? Now, one of the issues that academics is interested to in the earlier years, like in the years of 1990s, 20s, 2000s, the academics would like to see an independent body of the Islamic financial institutions, because globally they saw an increase of the Islamic financial institutions. So since the ultimate objective of these Islamic financial institutions is to achieve the maqasid al-Sharia, so academics thought that they should have an independent body for governing the Islamic financial institutions. So we have seen the research in that area. As we know that we have got IASB, International Accounting Standard Board. They issue IFRS and IAS for governing the accounting regulations globally. And globally, this is, as you know, that this is very powerful body of accounting regulation, apart from the ICP, American, standard, American GAAP, US GAAP. So there is an increasing concern among the Islamic accounting academics why we should go for another set of accounting standard, although it is for the Islamic financial institutions. Why shouldn't we, align the disparity between the IFRS and the maybe office standards? So there is a group of researchers who is doing research in this area, like converging office standards with the IFRS, or aligning some of the Sharia elements. If you can align the Sharia elements, if you can incorporate the Sharia elements with the IFRS, then perhaps it would be sufficient for the Islamic financial institutions. So we have seen research in this area as well. And one of the widely researched area is compliance with the office standards. So like, we have got 10 full-fledged Islamic banks. So whether they follow the office standards, and if they follow it, how much, at what length, at what extent, or you can do some impact study like complying with the office standards, it has impact on the farm performance and so on. So these are areas regarding the regulation of the regulatory compliance. The second issue is on the annual report disclosures. As you know that in the conventional firms, in the annual report we have seen, we see the financial statements as well as non-financial information. We call them voluntary disclosures. So among the voluntary disclosures, we have got CSR disclosures, we have got governance disclosures, we have got environmental disclosures, and so on. So we know that a wide range of researchers nowadays, they study these areas, right? Voluntary disclosures or the qualitative disclosures or non-financial disclosures. For the Islamic financial institutions, we have seen the same. So firstly, there is a group of researchers who firstly see whether there is a feasibility of Islamic corporate reports. So what do they mean by Islamic corporate reports? They mean it by Islamic corporate reports that the Islamic financial institutions or the firms that run under Sharia law, they should prepare a value-added statement. It's not like the conventional value-added statement. So Islamic financial institutions, they should prepare a value-added statement to show how they are adding value to the society and how they are creating good for the humanity, because the ultimate objective of the Maqasid al-Sharia is to bring good for the humanity, for the mankind, right? So this is one of the area that I've seen that researchers are interested in. Then obviously the financial reporting complies with the applicable Sharia standards, governance, and the other accounting standards. We have seen the research in the sustainability reporting, like social, environment, and other narrative disclosures. One of the issues is interesting here is the gap, the expectation gap. So it's like, being Islamic financial institutions, we expect, maybe a greater number of the form of disclosures from the Islamic financial institutions in the area of the sustainability. Perhaps they are not disclosing that much. So there is a mismatch of the expectation gap. So there is some research on this expectation gap as well. And some would argue for the separate conceptual framework even for the Islamic financial institutions. So these are the current, debates and the discussion going on in this area. And the third category of issues, we see the corporate and Islamic governance. As you know that Islamic financial institutions or any firm that would like to run under the Sharia law, they should have a Sharia supervisory board or Sharia supervisory committee, apart from their regular board of governance. So one is the regular corporate governance, the other is the Sharia governance. So they have the relevance of these two set of governance, the governing body, right? So we have seen research in this area. One is governance disclosures based on their annual report disclosures, and also the composition, the functionalities of the Sharia supervisory committee and the Sharia supervisory board. There are research who are skeptic actually about the functioning of this Sharia supervisory board, because for them, Sharia supervisory board could not, function properly. Perhaps sometimes they are acting just like a rubber stamp on the regular board of governance. So these are some issues, some questions raised by the researchers. We have seen the research in the Islamic accounting also on the accounting profession development. Now, it is either in the development of the accounting profession of some Muslim country, Islamic country, like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kuwait, some other Middle Eastern countries. And also, we have seen research in the area of the interplay between the social norms and the other external factors, the interrelationship between the local traditions and the global norms of the global neoliberal agenda, colonial influence. For example, there are research that showed that the development of accounting professional institutions is not only influenced by the by their colonial heritage, but also it is being influenced by their local traditions, the local customs, right? We have seen research in the area of the discussion in the areas gender as well, because as you know that there is a particular religious guidelines for the female. So how the female professionals or the professional accountants would perform in the sacred context, if you like. There is the issue of patriarchy, or the patriarchal structure of the society, how this patriarchy has exacting control over the female professional accountants, or the future female professional accountants, how the accounting firms are addressing the issue. So these are some of the concerns in this area. We have also seen here the socio-cultural factors and its interrelationship with the political and the other global economic factors. Then the accountability issues, as I initially pointed out, that it has two forms of accountability for Islamic financial institutions: secular and the spiritual form of accountability. So we have seen research in this area, both on the regular profit-seeking organization and the Islamic charities and the NGOs. So many organizations, many researchers actually, they studied Islamic charities and the Islamic NGOs. So they perhaps they borrow some of the notion of the NGO accountability from the conventional accounting, and they apply it in the Islamic charity organization. So this is how this area of research is going on. Then management accounting and control. Again, this is again important for the Islamic, as far as Islam is concerned, of the religiosity is concerned, because in the secular sense, our managerial decision making is based on the information that is being generated, and we are only making decisions to make sure that we have achieved the intended objective of the goal we set for the organization, right? Now, in the religious setting, in the sacred context, or in the context of Islamic financial institutions, we have to, yes, we have to make sure that first, and apart from that, we also make sure that we have achieved the objective of Maqasid al-Sharia, that is the highest objective of the Sharia. So it is something like we are not only achieving the objective of the organization that we are talking into, but also we are achieving the objective of the, making society a better place to live on, right? So we see the researchers talking on the strategic orientation of the firms where religiosity is a concern. So it is not only the strategy of the organization to beat their customers. Yes, they have to beat their customers to survive in the market, to dominate in the market, but at the same time, they have to follow some strategies so that they create good for the humankind, they create good for the society and the humanity at large. Also, we see some of the issues of the management accounting, like supply chain operations of Sharia compliant firms. I have another piece of research actually, which is coming to be published very soon in this area. So whereby I argue that how management accounting and control can be relevant in the supply chain operations, particularly in the halal supply chain. So what is this halal supply chain? Because as some of you or many of you, would work in the food or other, allied industries, that the maintenance of the halal certification is one of the key issues here, right? So maintaining the food quality, serving something to the people which is halal. So this is known as halal supply chain. So in the context of halal supply chain, how management accounting is relevant. So I argued that paper actually. So that is another aspect that researchers are currently working on, the management accounting and control. And apart from that, we have Islamic taxation, which is popularly known as zakat. So accounting for zakat, perception of people about the zakat. So we have got some issues here. Some researchers are exploring that areas. And waqf as well. Waqf is like, charitable endowment fund. You are creating a waqf fund. So you are creating a fund, or you are donating a piece of land, or you that. for some, welfare reason, for some benefit for the society, for good for the betterment of the humanity. So how that endowment fund is being run, how that endowment fund accounting should be done. We have got separate standard even issued by the AUFI for Waqf accounting and the Zakat accounting as well. So anyway, as you can understand, these are each of it is like, a huge area of discussion it requires, but I've just likely, show you how the Islamic accounting issues are being addressed by the Islamic accounting. Now, the way forward. What is the future of Islamic accounting? As you can understand that, future is very bright. I would say, I mean, the many researchers, many academics, many institutions are interested in this new form of thinking, new Islamic accounting. But we have to address some issues here. Firstly, we have to address the concern of Sharia authenticity deficit. So what is the meaning of this Sharia authenticity deficit? The Sharia authenticity deficit is like, as you know, in our country, we know that the national economy is interest-based, right? However, we have got institution that is being run under Sharia law. So many people would argue that how do they fulfill or how do they conform with the 100% Sharia while our economy is run under interest, which is fine. So that is basically the Sharia authenticity deficit, right? So even though the Islamic financial institutions, the organizations run under Sharia law, they strive their best to do everything under Sharia, but they cannot do it because of the many internal and external factors. This is the authenticity deficit. Now, as we can, as we would be able to, reduce this gap, this deficit, then perhaps we'll be able to achieve the firstly confidence of the general public first, then also the academics and the researchers. So this is one of the issues that the researchers, the practitioners should think about it. We need further empirical evidence on postmodern firms. So what do you mean by postmodern firms? Because as you know that, and COVID situation, explicitly showed us that in the postmodern firms, everything based on the networks, relationships, supply chain. So in the context of the supply chain, in the context of the network-based organization, in the context of the virtual firms, in the context of the inter-firm relationships, how Islamic accounting is operable, we should know about it. So there is a limited discussion, research, and the practitioners' discussion on this area. And also in the context of the fourth industrial revolution, how, for example, the innovation of fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, big data, how this has been creating changes in the area of Islamic accounting, or how Islamic accounting is being relevant here. We have to, study these areas. Explore new territories meaning, new areas where Islamic accounting is quite relevant, like Bangladesh. Bangladesh is lagging far behind if you compare it with the Malaysia and Indonesia. If you see the population size, even the Malaysia, quite small with compared to the Bangladesh. So why we are lagging far behind to explore the Islamic accounting issues? So I think Bangladesh has a potentiality to become the Islamic finance hub if we have, set proper rules, regulations, if we create proper regulatory environment for Islamic financial institutions. In other words, if we can create the proper Islamic finance ecosystem in Bangladesh, then it has a huge, future. And also the professional bodies like ICMAB, I think they should come forward to create memorandum of understanding or the membership of AUFI. They can take it. They can go for the joint fellowship program. They can even offer the certificate. I don't know whether their rules regulation allow it, but if it allows it, they can go for it. They can issue, they can do some certification program on things like Islamic finance, Islamic accounting, or if they cannot do it themselves, they can jointly do the fellowship program with the AUFI or some other international bodies. And at least they can do some CPD programs and other training programs on this, because this is some of the issues that, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And remember one point, this is not only the issue of the Muslim scholars, the Muslim practitioners, no. During my PhD days in the UK, I have seen many researchers from the Western, they are now doing research in that. They are studying the Islamic financial institutions to understand, you know, how Islamic financial organizations sometimes survive even at the fierce financial crisis. So I think it has relevance for all. So these are some of my thoughts to share with you. Now, feel free to ask any questions, comments, or suggestions. I'm here to listen or to share my thoughts. Thank you very much for your patience hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Saiful, for your very articulated presentation and also provoking, thought-provoking. I hope it gives us a lot of learning and also provoke us to learn further continuously. So now at this stage, may I request the participants, if you please raise your hand for asking the questions for any further clarification. One attendee I found is raising hand, like MD Saifuddin. Okay, I'm promoting.
Socio-Cultural Factors.
Yeah, Sofiuddin. Yeah. Sofiuddin, are you here?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. This is me, Shafiuddin, senior lecturer from Department of Accounting at IUB, and also associate member of the institute. And it's my privilege to see sir after a long years. I was his direct student at Department of Accounting at University of Dhaka, and this is very timely topic, Islamic accounting. So sir, you have addressed a thing, Sharia authenticity deficit. So what is the actually a contradiction going on between the Islamic scholars and the actually what we call the Mufti and Islamic conventional banking and Islamic banking. So nowadays we know that the basic difference between conventional banking and Islamic banking is conventional banking is based on interest, whereas Islamic banking is based on Islamic Sharia. But we see that some conventional Islamic banking is also offering interest at a fixed rate. Whereas if I talk about, I have a DPS at Islamic banking, which offers 8.5% interest. Now, due to the economic condition, it has lowered its interest to 7.5%. So, which is directly contradict with the Islamic philosophy of Islamic philosophy. And my another observation is that what we call share market. So some mufti actually give a fatwa that investing in share market is haram. The background is that most of the investors have the intention to make short-term gain rather than making a long-term gain or acting as a shareholder of the company. So to be a shareholder of the company or to own a company is not haram. To get profit from their company is not haram, but to make a short-term gain is haram. So there is a conflict between Islamic banking, Islamic Sharia based Sharia-based finance and what actually is written in the Islamic Sharia. So will you shed light on that? So how can we avoid this deficit, as there is always a gap? You have mentioned that there is a gap, research gap to look over this. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Shafiuddin. Nice observation from you, part. I think first of all, I'm not an expert in the Sharia to give you a detail on these issues, but I do agree with you that there is a serious concern among some of the Islamic scholars regarding how some of the Islamic banks. I'm not saying all of the banks, but some of the Islamic banks or some of the windows of the Islamic banking of conventional banks are underground in Bangladesh. So there is this serious, Sharia deficit, Sharia authenticity deficit in Bangladesh. Now, how to remove this deficit? My personal feeling is that if we can arrange, more discussion and knowledge sharing with the Islamic scholars and the traditional, experts like, economists and accountants, practitioners, professional accountants, perhaps we would be able to, remove some of the things or some of the deficits. But certainly will not be able to remove 100% because, as you know, that there are different sects of even in the understanding of Islamic or in the interpretation of the Islamic rulings as well, right? So just my comment on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Don Bhai has a point.
Okay, thank you, Safiuddin, as well as Dr. Saiful. Now, is there? Yes, another one is Rakibul Hassan. Can yeah. Okay, Rakib bhai, can you hear us? Could you please ask the question?
First of all, I would like to thank to ICMAB and Dr. Sayyid Abdullah Al Mamun and Mr. Saiful for organizing such kind of topics. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Saiful to say something whether any kind of organizations can run without any act, especially Islamic Banking Act. Can you hear me? I think Islamic Bank Bangladesh Limited started this journey in 1993 in the Southeast Asia for the first Islamic bank. Now and then, it is based on only guideline. There is no specific act yet in our country. And Sofiuddin Bhai tell us 8.5% interest, and it is fixed. And yes, it is absolutely haram. But without any act, it could not be regulated yet at all. So that's why I would like to ask Dr. Saiful Islam. It is a necessity for us to implement or to introduce Islamic Banking Act in our country. Do you feel this? Thank you.
Yes, Rakib Bhai, I do agree with your point. I do agree with your point that we need to develop a holistic Islamic finance ecosystem for Bangladesh because, Islamic financial institutions are on the rise. We have got, many people now, they are more, religiously concerned. They want to make investment, but in an Islamic way. So we need to develop a system, an Islamic ecosystem in our country to ensure this thing. I think we are lagging behind, particularly in this area. Yes, I do agree with your point. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think there is no more questions at this moment. So, okay.
Dr. Mamun.
Yeah.
Dr. Mamun, I have a question to Saiful Alam.
Please.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mamun. And in fact, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Saiful Alam for his excellent presentation on the topic. Actually, this is a rising area, not only globally, but also in our country. And especially, as I understand that some of the Islamic countries has already been, started to follow Islamic accounting, but in our country, it is still far away. So in this scenario, as I am working in a conventional financial institution like Lanka Bangla Finance Limited, so we understand that there is a huge market opportunities in our country for Islamic finance and Islamic accounting practices. But the government is still not considering this to be implemented, or even the accounting professions are not adequately addressing the topic so that it can be popularized and practiced among the accounting practitioners. This is actually lacking. So my expectation from Saiful Alam Bhai is to how we as a community, as a financial community, I mean, in our country, in the financial system, there are banks and financial institutions, and also insurance companies are also now globally following Islamic insurance, right? So these are actually happening globally, but in our country, the progress is very low. So how we can start the thing to make it popular in our country, and also collaborate with the government so that even at least at minimum scale, the government can also facilitate its implementation in the country, especially in the Islamic banks. Islamic banks are following Sharia concept, but in Islamic accounting, actually they are not following. So there is a huge gap. How we can actually make the thing, cover up the gap between these applications.
Thank you, Comrade John Bhai. Very big and serious question, I think. Recently, I came across one of the paper editorial written by Professor Kabir Hassan in Daily Prathamalo. As some of you may know, Professor Kabir Hassan is one of the leading academics in the area of Islamic finance, based in the USA. So he published a lot in the area of Islamic finance. I think he was urging our government and the policymakers on this point in this short, sub-editorial in the Daily Prathamalo. So my personal understanding of the comment on this is that we have a ready-made model here. We have Malaysia, you see. So Malaysia is, as all of us know that, all of you know that, Malaysia is doing very good as far as their economy is concerned. So we have got their model. So why don't we just follow them? I mean, they have got very good Islamic ecosystem. They have, even in the country, just like we have got Bangladesh Security Exchange Commission for regulating the capital market. So they have got some Sharia governance council or something like that. So Sharia Council, Sharia Governance Council, nationally, to govern the affairs of the Sharia-based institutions like Islamic financial institutions. So since we have got their model, we can follow them. And apart from that, I think our policymakers and the government should understand the importance of this thing. And also, as a professional accountant, we ICMAB members and the ICMA as an institute, I think they should come forward. So I think it has been started with this sort of small knowledge sharing program, and I believe that we have got some dynamic leaders in the National Council, like Kamru John by himself and others. So they could take initiative. So how to engage with the global think tanks like AUFI institutions and the Malaysian even some policy making institutions. So they can regularly engage with the knowledge sharing programs. So first we have to build our knowledge. First we have to recognize the importance of this thing. So through knowledge sharing, I think we can do this. So once we have got the realization of the importance of this thing, then we can devise policies, design the systems, develop the governance and the other things. But we should do it quickly, because huge market, Bangladesh, especially if you think about our size of the market, right? We could be 10 times bigger than the Malaysia, at least. So thank you. My brief comment on this.
Yeah, very well answered. Thank you, Saiful Bhai. You have given us a guideline yes, we as an accounting body, we have the responsibility, and the first thing that we can do, as you guided, is to arrange a meeting or a conference for all the Sharia boards of the country, and through them we can create pressure or motivate the
Persuasion.
government, initiate the persuasion to the government to make it popularized. Thank you, Saiful Bhai, for your well answer.
Thank you, Jaman Bhai, for your insightful questions to lead the essential discussions at this moment. So I think, sir has a question, possibly.
But I just want to know from Dr. Saiful Alam one thing, which is I think it should be discussed. As a matter of fact, in the process of Islamic accounting, one practical issue, this is competitiveness. Because we are now in global business. Whatever we are talking about, Islamic accounting, this is good, very good, and we should do. And he has given a good example that Malaysia has already, they have used fully Islamic accounting there, Dr. Saiful?
Yes, I mean, since they are, if you compare the Islamic economy with the total size of the economy, so Islamic economy is a very good part of their total economy.
Right.
So they have got Islamic accounting as well as the traditional accounting is there.
Fine, if it is in place there, now.
And even, sir, you will be happy to know that Malaysia is also practicing even Zakat accounting.
Fine, it is there. Then I have a question to place to Dr. Saiful Alam. And that is, have you got any after effects of implementing accounting system, any research that in terms of effectiveness, for example, for some institutions, because we are talking about the organizations, those all are in business. They have to earn profit. As a CEO of the company, you are given, you have to increase your profitability, you have to increase your net asset value, you have to increase your EPS, earning power. So all those things are given to the chief officer or the company, for example. So one company now under the principles of Sharia and accounting rules and regulations, and that is given by Almighty Allah, and we are the followers of Rasulullah. So the origination of Sharia, and that has come where from? That has come from Hadith, then Qiyas. This is the sources of our Islamic law, and we are going to follow Islamic accounting based on those fundamentals. In maintaining this accounting, we have to look into the in detail the transactions. So transactions taking place, for example, one company under the instruction or following the accounting, Islamic accounting, the other is conventional accounting. So in that case, if you following your Islamic accounting, is there any after effects evaluation or research that in terms of competitiveness, you are losing your market, you are losing your competitiveness with those industries or companies or organizations which are being run under the conventional accounting system? So is there any, because, example, if we take the example for LC, in real field, what we see, you will see that over invoicing, under invoicing. So under the Islamic law, you cannot do that. But when one company will be doing that and another company you are not doing that, it's not saying that all of them are doing wrong. It is not that. Maximum companies are good, but there are some companies, maybe some big companies also, they are doing like this. Now, if you follow this Islamic everything, but are there any example they are losing their competitiveness and then they're losing their market with comparison to the companies or organizations which are not being run under Islamic accounting or Islamic laws, but they are doing their business under the conventional accounting system and conventional business system. And if there is any research, so can you give some example, or if you have done any research, then you can also, I don't think that we'll be able to reply, but do you have any information to just give a clear understanding that whether we will be losing our competitiveness?
Okay, thank you, sir. Very good question. I think I've come across a few papers that studied slightly in this area in the context of the Middle East. So one of the findings of the paper is that the higher the Sharia related information is being disclosed by the firm, the better is their performance. So in other words, if the firm is is a Sharia compliant firm, they are disclosing more information about the Sharia, and they have got that their performance got better, right? Now, to address this point, I think a very good question you raised here, the reduction of the competitiveness thing. I think it has something to do with even our conventional understanding of the accounting. You see, in that conventional understanding of accounting, nowadays what we are calling to the organization, we are calling to the organizations to be sustainable. We have got, nationally sustainable development goal. We have got sustainable accounting. We call organizations to, to be a good corporate citizen, meaning to do business in an environment friendly way, not harming the environment. So creating good for the community, right? So in other words, isn't it the teaching of the Islam? So I have got some paper who is actually criticizing the conventional accounting, that they are not acknowledging the teaching of the Islam while they are calling organizations, the companies, to be environmental friendly, to be more sensitive to the sustainable to the environment, right? So I think we need serious discussion here. I mean, already with our subconscious mind, in the secular understanding of the accounting and in the conventional understanding, we have already addressed, or we have already incorporated some of the teachings of the Islam in the accounting, especially in the sustainability accounting area. Now, the practical aspect, like under invoicing and the over invoicing part, for example, or the other issues, I think we have to go a long way to mismatch this area, because you see, this is world, so we have good people and the bad people. Even I mentioned one thing called Sharia authenticity deficit. Even if the firm declared themselves as a firm run under Sharia law, they are not 100% following it. So they are kind of in the academia, there is a saying called dollar scholar, like so dollar scholar meaning we have got Sharia supervisory board, we have got some Sharia scholars, they are highly paid, so everything is based on their ruling, like their interpretation of the some of the regulations of the rules, right? I think we have to go a long way to answer this question. Thank you.
So I think also Islamic finance is very, very important for us. That is, for example, you cannot make money. The use of money for making money not allowed in Islam, in Islamic, but it is almost every principle in Islamic financing. You have your investment social and ethical benefits for people, other than making profit and loss is also. But in our society, No, even in Islamic bank projects, I would say is a lot of, if you taken money from the bank and they are making profit and they are showing loss. So that is also, so Islamic principle we should follow. And you have said correctly, I also agree that it has a long way to go, but we have to start. And in the way forward, you have said the Sharia authenticity deficit, post-modernism farm, then explore of new territories, potentiality in Bangladesh regarding Islamic finance, and joining institution like ICAB, ICMB can join this AUFI. AUFI, how much it is effective? Auditing and accounting organization for Islamic financial institutions. Is it very effective? And how they have been working? Where it is, its head office in Malaysia?
It's in Bahrain. It's in Bahrain, but as I said, as I mentioned, they issued standards on Sharia standards and accounting standards, governance and ethical standards, and many countries, they make these standards mandatory for the Islamic financial institutions. So I think Amrajan Bhai also was asking how our government could respond to it. We could make it mandatory for Islamic financial institutions to comply with those Sharia standards, or to comply with the accounting standards applicable for the Islamic financial institutions, apart from the conventional IFRS. So I think we have many things to do, particularly in this area. And I think to slightly slightly add your point, how are Islamic banks and others are addressing the issues while doing business in a non-Islamic environment. I think they establish some foundation even. So if they feel that some income is doubtful, they transfer this income to that foundation and they do charity with that foundation. They have hospital, as you know, the Islamic Bank Foundation Hospital and others. They have got some other charitable activities. So, people are there who are even criticizing these aspects as well. I think their point is that we are striving. So we are trying our best. This is their answer.
That is true. Your criticism will be there even if you are good, 100% good. But you are doing good. That is the most important thing. Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. That's thought-provoking discussions. I think this is just a beginning. And I believe as a professional institution, ICMAB can play a very important role to address these economically critical issues. And one point we came to know from the discussion that there is a opportunity to fitting or matching the accounting finance activities or financial services with the accounting, Islamic accounting. So Islamic finance and accounting can be implemented hand to hand, not like we have the Islamic financing system, but we don't have the Islamic accounting system for ensuring their accountability. So yes, the last statement, as Dr. Saiful mentioned, that as we have the hybrid financial system like Malaysia or other countries, that is, we have both traditional as well as Islamic financing activities. So at the initial stage, as a professional institution, we can also come up with more deeper discussion and can draw the attention of the policymakers, regulators, that why not that part of the financial, like Islamic financing accounting system, Islamic accounting system can be used to ensure their accountability and financial reporting. So this can be a very interesting and also important discussion to draw the attention of the regulators. And I believe DBC platform will continue this discussion. And this is, in fact, if we follow that, DBC doesn't take a discussion just abruptly, rather we have a sequence. In the last 1 year back during the pandemic, first we have arranged a discussion on Islamic banking for the first time. And subsequently, we are discussing now Islamic accounting. So we have the plan to carry this discussion to learn, to help us to learn ourselves as well as to draw attention of the policymakers, and we will continue. And we also expect the similar kind of initiatives, means articulated initiatives from the National Council level as well. SAR is in here, as well as Kamrujaman Bhai as well. And Haider Bhai is also looking after the training department. So training department can also play a very important role to build the human resources of Islamic banking and finance and accounting as well. So I think from all aspects we can add value. So at this stage, thank you all for thoughtful discussions, but this is a precious time for us to listen from our today's chief guest, our guardian, who has spent a lot of time for the development of CMA profession, and simultaneously he, as a CMA, established himself as a good administrator as well as an entrepreneur. So he's none other than our living legend CMA professionals, that is MD Abdul Aziz Sir, FCMA. And before his speech, I want to congratulate him as well, that outside of the Dhaka, in the like Bogura, from like he has an industry, and he has recently National Daily also reported that like he, because of his contribution and his industry's contribution in the export, that Bogura's export has been highlighted significantly and improved significantly. So sir, salute to you and special congratulations and gratitude on behalf of the DBC and on behalf of all respected members of the ICMT. Sir, please, for floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mamun. Whenever Dr. Mamun gets any loudspeaker or mic in his hand, and if I am there, he speaks very high of me. So thank you, Mr. Mamun. And today also you are speaking very high of me, though I am not what to say. Have reached well, as you are highlighting very much. Thank you. And this discussion Saiful comes and presenting his paper. Name of the paper: what is known, what is to be known. Paper, Mr. Moderator and Council, on all the members attending the session, women 49 people. Thank you very much for attending this session, and that I have told you that what is known and what is to be known in accounting. This is very new. Maybe Malaysia and in other also, but in Bangladesh still not much introduced in our businesses other than in bank. Yes, in sector we have some Islamic activities and based on Sharia, and Sharia board also. So I should congratulate Mr. Moon for arranging such an important topic, and Dr. Saiful have really presented a very good paper. We have come to know a lot of things from your presentation, and really conducted very good and very good research on the topics, and not only on the topics, other related issues we have also addressed. And we have been, especially I can say that I have been highly benefited, because on Islamic issues, we have very little knowledge, especially for me. And today, after listening you, definitely we have been benefited. Islamic laws, rules, and as well as in Islam. So in Islamic accounting, very basic things, if we consider the basic concept in Islamic accounting or Islamic business, and primary goals of Islamic based on concept of human well-being. You have said in the paper, we have to look into human well-being and good life, socio-economic justice for the society, balancing of both material and spiritual needs of all human. Because Islamic rules and regulations, and we are getting from Holy Quran, Sunnah, and yes, then Ijma. So these are the sources of Islamic rules, Islamic laws, and if we want to follow, of course, we will have to have a lot of exercises on such issues, and these issues needs to be discussed not only at our institutional levels. Of course, our members will be benefited, and I hope that they will continue to listen presentations. But at the same time, we should take forward to the level of the highest level of the government. They should also arrange such discussion sessions with Islamic scholars and who can contribute maybe from our own country and from other institutions and from other countries also who have been following Islamic rules, laws in their countries. Then it will be easy for us to convince the people, to convince our government to really go for need-based Islamic Sharia, Islamic rules, laws, and Islamic accounting also. Because whatever you want to do, you will need, and you need to get it vetted by the government authority. Otherwise, you cannot follow it. For example, here, AOI, that is AAOIFI. This is an institution, and its name is Accounting Auditing Organizations for Islamic Financial Institution. This is a good information for us there. This is a global body established in 1991. We came to know from Dr. Saiful. And if they are doing these standards and then principles of Islamic finance, principles of accounting, and what are the components in Islamic financial system, they have been working with these all issues, Sharia issues. But if these rules are not, even if they made these standards and principles, if are vetted by the government of Bangladesh, then you cannot put these into place in our organizations, in our companies, in our business houses. So frequently holding of seminars and conferences on Islamic issues in the national level can take it up, can gear up the process of finalization or process of improvement or development in this situation, in this Islamic and Islamic accounting. I remember in 2002 or 2001, one such Islamic conference was being held in Colombo. Colombo is in problem now, but that was a very good economy. I'm talking about 2010, 2000 or 2001. And that was arranged by SAFA, South Asian Federation of Accountants, on conference, especially on this Islamic financing. And one good paper, one gentleman from Sri Lanka, and of course he's a Muslim, and he presented, he has been working he was a very young guy that time. He was working in a bank in Sri Lanka, and he put forward a lot of new things in this Islamic accounting. He was not talking about very much about Islamic accounting, but he was talking about Islamic finance, Islamic banking, Islamic laws, rules, regulations, which can be of help to the people. And he was also saying that, I still remember, this is not for Muslims also. If these Islamic rules are put in place, then definitely not only Muslims, the people who are not the Muslims, the other people, like the religion who are following, they can also take benefit out of this Islamic system. And And he highlighted very much in that perspective. So I also today I'm convinced that Dr. Saiful Alam has definitely presented a very good paper highlighting all the aspects of Islamic rules, laws, and especially his presentation on Islamic accounting system definitely would help our members, our institutions, and our country as well. And I must congratulate Mr. Saiful Alam. And you have said that you have is coming out from your end. We'll be waiting to have that, and definitely we hope that we'll get that. And I will request Mr. Dr. Mamoon, you can also keep in contact with Dr. Saiful, and you can have another session with his second research paper. And I hope that only will be benefited. It is our religious obligation to know the Islamic law, Islamic rules, and maintain our books and accounts and our Islamic financial system in order, in our discipline, in our organization. So country will be benefited. And I raised one question that and that was competitiveness, and he has replied, I'm highly happy and to know that competitiveness has been increased in Middle East, like Saudi Arabia and some other places, as mentioned by Dr. Saiful. If it is so, obviously this is going to give us more benefit. In one hand, on the other hand, we will come under the rules and privileges and rules given by Almighty Allah, the Sharia. So under Sharia laws, rules, and follow Sharia laws, rules in our daily life, in our organization, and in our banks, in our houses. Obviously, the people of this country will be benefited because the very fundamental thought is that not only the entrepreneurs, we only talk about stockholders, shareholders of the company, they should be benefited. But in this case, under the umbrella of Islamic law, it is not only the stakeholders or the shareholders should be benefited, the mass people should be benefited, and the society should be benefited, the country should be benefited, socio-economic justice should be ensured. So all these things are needed. And if these are the products of Islamic rules accounting, then we follow whether we are Muslim or we are not Muslim, bring benefit to the nation as a whole. So thank you very much for organizing this topic, and thank you very much, Dr. Saiful Alam, for your nice presentation based on your findings on your research. Thank everybody who have attended and enjoyed this paper, and thank you once again, and hoping that we'll be able to have such programs very, very frequently. Thank you very much indeed. Thank everybody. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your insightful and the directive speech. I believe that Saiful has also listened it, and we have a very close communication continuously. Hope we will be also getting the opportunity in future to listen from Saiful about his passionate area. I think this is passionate area. So this is our privilege, as I mentioned at the very beginning, that Saiful is our own people. So this is the advantage of the ICMB family, that we have our own scholars who can create knowledge and help us to learn. So with these few words, and a special thanks again to Saiful for sharing his knowledge, and thank you, sir, for managing the time. This is a working time, so it was a great challenge for me to organize the program during the Ramadan in the working time. So thank you very much, and special thanks also the treasurer, ICMAB, Hakim Kamrujaman FCMA, my colleagues Iqbal Hossain ACMA, and one of the pioneer of Islamic finance program, that is Mr. A.K.M. Jakaria Hussain. He's a former chairman of the DBC. He is also in here. In his tenure, in fact, the first program of Islamic banking and finance we arranged in 2 years back. So thank you all members and the students who have joined, and advance Eid Mubarak to all, and stay well, and hope to see you in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Saiful.
Yes, thank you all. I'm humbled and I'm greatly privileged.